everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Unclouded. I am your host, Bree Marshall. And if you're new here, I just want to do a little catch up. Last week, I did have a little bit of a different episode. Kylie came on and spoke about what she does with Mothers Against Drunk Driving and what all that group actually does. And it surprised me a lot, and I think it surprised others that we don't realize how much they do. So that was last Friday. Most of the Fridays before that have been people sharing their personal stories through their drinking times into sobriety and what it kind of took and advice from them to lock in to being sober. And if you are interested in my own story and why I wanted to start this podcast, you can go back to the very beginning. I have a very short 4-minute trailer video, and then I have a full episode. My very first full episode is me telling my story and kind of how I got to this place in life to want to have a platform for others to share their stories as well. So that brings us to today. A little different again today. It's just me. I wanted to do a recap on my first sober beach vacation, which we just got back from 4 days ago. All my past beach vacations have been pretty heavily focused on alcohol and drinking, even if that wasn't the plan. It always ended up that way. So I kind of want to do a little comparison between those and now a sober trip. So we'll cover that. I'll kind of go through just the timeline of it and be very honest about all of it. And then I want to have a little mental health moment just because we just wrapped up the month of May, which is Mental Health Month. And there's a topic I want to bring up when we get to that. And then I want to finish with Sober Sideline. So I'm going to start a new segment called Sober Sideline. It'll be the first episode every month where I will kind of tell an athlete's story that struggled with either a mental health issue, a drug addiction, alcohol, anything of that sort that either happened during their career, after their career, things like that. Because if you've listened to all the episodes, you do know that my story, the drinking picked up a lot once sports were out of my life. Kind of didn't know what to do with myself anymore because it was day-to-day practices and games. All of a sudden, I had all this free time and was very young, and that's where I kind of ended up. And then I did have someone else on that was injured during their sports career and had kind of no backup plan, which most of us don't, because you just don't ever think that you'll need one. And they also ended up down the path of drinking a lot. So it is a very big thing and it's not talked about much. So I wanted to start choosing someone to research and talk about on the first Friday of each month. So let's get into it. I'm going to go over the vacation first. So I'll start with the packing process because, I mean, if you were an active drinker, heavy, like day to day, it's always on your mind. The reason you're probably listening to this podcast, struggle with alcohol or used to struggle with alcohol, you will understand that every step of the way, things are different when you're sober. So we're packing, and I'm not thinking of the past me on vacations when I would have been drinking or drunk or hungover a lot. When you are now in this new lifestyle of being calm and content, you're not thinking ahead to negotiate with yourself. I wasn't thinking, I need to pack super cute clothes, because when you're drinking a lot, you kind of have to put on this fake image that you have to look okay to convince people that you're okay. You try to fake how you feel. So I would always pack like my good makeup and cute outfits and try to look cute every day, even though I was hungover, or dress nice out to dinner, because if you look nice and you're drinking, it's like this better image than if you look bad and you're drinking. It's wild to explain, and it's even weird to explain when it's in the past because I'm like, what was wrong with me? But I'm sure that'll be relatable to others. So when I'm packing, I'm thinking comfortable. I'm thinking beach. I'm packing for the kids. I'm being more what I need instead of what I want. And I packed perfectly. I didn't overpack when I used to overpack. I packed exactly what I needed. I packed for comfort, and it was great. So I didn't realize how many things change when your mindset changes from drinking to not drinking. So the packing was better. The traveling itself, we drove 10 hours and stopped a couple times with the kids. It was so calm and relaxing. It didn't even feel like 10 hours. And my mind wasn't, I can't wait to get to the beach and drink. What time are we going to get there? Because are we going to have dinner? Am I going to have time to drink tonight? Should I wait until tomorrow to drink? Like, I don't want to be hungover on the first morning. Those weren't thoughts I had that I used to have. The way it takes over your brain to plan ahead and schedule drinking is crazy. And that's why I hate that I did almost a year of moderating, because that's when you fight with yourself more than you did when you drank like every day or consistently or same days, same times. When you're moderating, you're like, okay, how do I work around this? When should I drink? How should I drink? What should I drink? You don't have those questions and those mind battles anymore when you're just sober. So the traveling was nice, not planning ahead mentally in my head. I'm just like enjoying the moment. I'm reading. I read an entire book on the drive. I was so calm. Okay. Mornings on vacation. Incredible sober. I'll do a little flashback. August of 2024. That was during the year that I was like 2 month break and then I would drink and regret it. 2 month break, drink and regret it. And I did that for like 8 months. So my second time kind of messing up, I guess. I don't know if you'd call it a relapse because I wasn't committed to sobriety yet. I was just kind of fighting against my relationship with alcohol and I knew there was an issue. So in August of 2024, we went to Gulf Shores and we went with my side of the family, my dad's side. So they are drinkers. I hadn't drank in 2 months. I felt so good. I was sleeping well. I was super hydrated. I was eating healthy. I was like the most fit I had been in a while. As soon as we get there, there's a liquor store literally like in our parking lot, I swear. Like you walk down the elevator and you can go into this liquor store. What I do first thing, they bought seltzers and stuff, so I bought seltzers. And of course, you're at the register and the guy's like, "Here's some shots." So that was it. First day, drank shots, drank the entire vacation. After I was so proud of myself for those 2 months, felt so good. So back to the mornings. I wanted to flash back to that because I was like, oh, I'm going to see the sunrises. I'm going to really enjoy this vacation. I haven't drank in 2 months. I'm doing so well. Immediately drank, didn't see the sunrise for a single day. Did not get up in time for any of the sunrises. And yes, the time does change, so it's an hour earlier there, but like I should have been able to handle that. But since I drank every night, I couldn't. And I did not get up. Um, so I was very sad about that after that trip. And this time I went into it saying, I'm getting up every morning. I'm having coffee every morning. I'm going to sit on the balcony. I'm going to make everybody breakfast. And that's exactly what I did. The weather wasn't great. We didn't have any beautiful sunrises, which was kind of upsetting when I like looked forward to that for so long. Like sober beach vacation. I'm committed to sobriety now. I'm going to finally enjoy these sunrises. And we didn't really have any. But that's okay. I still made breakfast for everyone. I enjoyed the coffee. It was a slow morning. Like people were slowly getting up. And I wasn't like miserable, trying to chug water, hating myself. I wasn't like, should I drink a beer to get through this, to be able to function the rest of the day? When are we going to drink later? I didn't have any of those thoughts. It was amazing. Like, if you don't know what I'm explaining, it's just so hard to get into words of how awful this cycle is, because you're on vacation, so you don't want to just deal with a hangover all day. So you drink again, which makes the day go fast and you feel gross. And then you're even worse the next day. And you don't want to like take a day off to deal with a hangover to feel good again the next day. So you just keep drinking and drinking. And that trip in August of 2024, I drank every day. And I could literally cry thinking about it. I was so upset with myself when we got home. I should be happy because this past week was my like redemption. Okay, I'm not gonna cry. So anyway, the mornings were incredible. I was like kind of recapping on the day before in my head. I did a couple videos talking about it on my social media if you saw those. And I was just so content and happy and just proud of myself. So I had a 6 pack of NA Coronas, and it was funny because we did a grocery pickup for when we got to town, and I was helping the guy put it in the back of the thing, and he said non-alcoholic Coronas, and I looked at him and I said, "Yep, those are mine." Like I was like proud of it, and he was just like, "Oh, cool, cool," like I think he kind of felt bad for saying something once I was like proud of it. He was like, "Oh, okay, cool." So no shame in my game. I am like, do not miss drinking and being hungover on vacation whatsoever. And so anyway, the mornings were incredible. Like I've said that like 100 times now, but they really were. And then the nights. Oh my gosh, I used to make myself go to bed early because I knew I'd feel bad in the morning from drinking, and I knew if I went to bed, it would make me stop drinking. I mean, I played so many mental mind games, it was insane. So I would make myself go to bed early on the vacation that I did drink, so that hopefully I would feel a little better in the morning instead of just not drinking at all. God forbid, Um, and it never worked. I still always woke up feeling bad. But when I'm sober, I could stay up super late. We were watching fireworks from the balcony. We swam at night. We went and looked for crabs on the beach. And I still was able to get up early. It's like I can enjoy the night and the morning. But when I was drinking, I didn't enjoy either of them. So it's a world of a difference. So then, a big one for me is having patience with the kids. When I was hungover, I was very irritable. Everything made me angry and made me so short tempered and annoyed, and they weren't doing anything wrong. They're kids. But I was so angry with myself and felt so gross and hungover, and my head hurt and mad at myself, and I'm not going to enjoy the day. And I would try so hard to not take it out on the people around me, but I know I did. I know I sounded annoyed and irritated when they weren't doing anything wrong, like I said. And it makes me so sad to think back to those times. And I'm so glad I got sober while they're young so they won't like remember a drunk mom or an agitated mom or a mom that's angry and not herself the days after drinking. So I had a lot of patience with the kids, and especially even just during the times that I would have been drunk, not always just the hangover times. We're in the pool swimming and I'm not worried about hopping out to drink. We're at the beach and I'm not worried about running back up the sand to drink. I was focused on them, focused in the moment, present, remember it all. So like in the past, I would have been like, hang on a minute, I gotta have another drink. Or like running away to go just take a shot or something, because once I have one, that's all my brain is thinking about. And I wish I could control that. For the people that like comment on my stuff and are like, why can't you just have two? I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't be in this position if I could. I'm glad you can, but once I put that addictive substance in my body, my brain is focused on it. It's asking where the next drink is coming from. It's asking when the next drink will be. So I am no longer fighting those demons. I am now clear headed. I am present in the moment. I am enjoying my children. I am enjoying my entire life. So, patience with kids is a huge one during the day, night, morning, everything. It just changes incredibly. So, the next thing I have wrote down is meals. So, back when I was drinking and stuff, I wouldn't want breakfast because I felt disgusting, and that doesn't help. And then lunchtime, I'm just focused on drinking and being outside. Probably didn't eat lunch. Then dinner, I'm kind of like making myself accept that I'm drunk and I need to get it together, either to go out to dinner or to cook in the condo or whatever, and make myself eat. And if you were like me in your drinking days, you don't feel like eating because you think it'll ruin the buzz. No, no, can't do that. So I would really try to avoid food as much as possible. But I love cooking, so I would still like do the cooking. This time I cooked. We actually had snacks in the place that I actually ate. I stayed hydrated, which is a huge one. Instead of alcohol breaks or sipping on alcohol all day, I just carried my water around with me all day. Like, I also had my NA Coronas to enjoy. I made a mocktail every single day during my mocktail series because that vacation was in May. And I had all these yummy drinks, but I was also so hydrated because instead of carrying around liquor, I was carrying around a water all day. So I stayed hydrated. I ate well. Um, it was really nice, and it's just you just do everything so differently when alcohol's not in the picture. So I actually felt calm and relaxed. Now that's what a vacation should be, right? Uh, and it never used to be. I used to have to recover and kind of like take a couple days after a vacation to do my relax and restore like you're supposed to do when you're on vacation. Like, this is time off work. This is time that you're supposed to let your brain kind of not turn off, but like turn off from work. It is supposed to be, you have earned this time to relax and be calm, enjoy your surroundings. I mean, you take time off work, you pay for a trip, thousands of dollars, you drive 10 hours, and you're telling me you want to blur out the whole thing? No, thank you. And yes, I know I used to, but not anymore. I'm like realizing all of these things. Pay so much money to throw it in the trash. We're not doing that anymore. We are relaxing, we are restoring, we are soaking in the vitamin D, we are out in the sun, we are with our kids, we are enjoying every moment. And to pause for the enjoying the moment thing, when I would be drinking and stuff, it would the kids would be like, hey, look at this, look at this. I'm like, oh yeah, cool, cool, cool. And I see it, but like my brain's like not there. When I'm on this sober trip, there were times I literally felt the world stop. The kids would say, I'm not going to cry, I'm not going to cry. This stuff makes me emotional because of how much I realize I could have thrown away as I watched them grow up if I wouldn't have cut alcohol out of my life. So they'd be like, hey, look at this, on the beach. And my mind is nowhere else. It is on them in that moment. And they'd be writing their names in the sand or drawing a picture or like catching seashells as they're coming up in the water or like, oh, my toes are gone, the sand buried my toes. And I feel like in the past I was like, haha, yeah, yeah, yeah. Just trying to like move through it. Like, why would I just want to rush through that moment? This time I was like in it with them. I was down there, I'm writing in the sand with them. We're like seeing whose name will get washed away first. I'm laughing about their toes in the sand. It was just so cute. And like, we live in a landlocked state. We're not at the beach a lot. What, once a year? So I apologize for crying. So these moments are very important to enjoy. Oh, I'm glad I didn't put any makeup on. Anyway, these moments are so important to enjoy. They are few and far between. And I'm so glad that I got to just take in those moments, and I truly felt like the world would stop. And I like took these mental images, and I won't forget them ever. Because say we go to the beach once a year. Our youngest will be 3 this year. That means what? 15 more times if we do go every single year until he's out of high school? 15 times. You can do something 15 times. That's not a lot if you think about big picture. So you really have to enjoy those few days you get. Those 18 times or 15 times, or if you can't make it to the beach every year, even less. Like, you really need to soak up these moments and enjoy them while they're happening. Not when you get home and think, oh, I should have just been more calm I wish I would have just taken the time to really soak it in. This is your hint to do that. Okay, so yeah, next topic. I feel very reliable. This is huge when you have kids. You have to be reliable. You also have to be aware of your surroundings. Flashback to that August vacation in 2024. I knew my husband wasn't getting super drunk. That made my mind think that I could. And I would try to fight it and fight it and fight it. But at nighttime, there was one night we went to the beach to look for crabs, and I got way too drunk. Everyone told me they couldn't tell, but the next day I was like, I cannot believe I did that. I knew that the boys were okay. I mean, I was right there, and my stepmom was right there, and my husband was right there, and like, it was fine. We were just looking for crabs. We weren't like in the water. I shouldn't even have to explain this. But we weren't in the water, we were just looking for crabs. But the next day I was like, I'm a fucking awful mom. Like, being near the ocean drunk with my kids. But my brain was like, there's 2 other adults here, we're fine. There's only 2 kids, there's 2 adults, we're fine. Like, I just kept convincing myself if something were to happen, I was able to do something about it. And the next day I was like, no, I don't think I could have. I might have tried, but I probably would have been useless. So that was kind of a smack in the face from life that I needed to think about and realize. And I was drinking something that I don't even like. I don't know. It's just like my brain just couldn't stop. So, flashbacks or come back to the present to this trip. We're looking for crabs, and I just was like smiling year to year out on that beach, taking in the moments, being like, wow, the sunset is so pretty. I'm feeling the sand on my feet. We're looking for crabs. My kid's smiling so big. He's got his little flashlight, and I'm in the moment. I'm not often space drunk. And I felt like if something were to happen right now, I 100% can take care of my kids and myself. If they get too close to the water, I can grab them. I will know in the moment. It won't like be a delayed response. And I'm aware of our surroundings with other people. If like there's a vehicle on the beach for any whatever reason, like I just felt like if anything were to happen right now, I am aware of my surroundings. I know what's happening. I can react. That's huge to me. And not only in vacation situations, like our kid's about old enough now to start going to sleepovers and having people over and things. And I'm like, if he ever needs me at 1 in the morning, I will be aware. I'll be alert. I will answer my phone. I will be able to drive. Any minute of any day, I know that I can get in a vehicle and drive. I never have to question that ever again. So, like, say we're at the beach and somebody needs something, or there's an emergency, or somebody gets hurt, I can drive someone somewhere. And my husband didn't drink on this vacation either. We could both drive someone somewhere, go get something, do anything at any moment. And I felt very powerful as a parent, very reliable, like I said, as an adult parent. And it's like that's how we should be able to feel at all times. Going from one activity to the next on vacation when you have little kids is not always just laying on the beach soaking up the sun. As much as we sometimes want it to be that, it's not. And there were a couple days where the weather was back and forth, so it's like, are we going to go outside? Are we going to do something inside? And we were able to drive and find different things to do. We weren't worried about like, oh, well, if we go here and have drinks, we're going to be able to drive back here. Like it's just not even a thought anymore. So we went and did some arcade things while it was raining. We held an alligator. We found this place to hold an alligator and see a bunch of those. That was all inside during the rain. And then when the rain stopped, we were doing go-karts and rides and things like that. We were able to just bounce around. And then there was one night that my husband and I needed to run to the store. We were kind of running out of food in the condo. So we did like a 9:30 at night run to Walmart, and my mother-in-law, his mom stayed in the condo with the kids, so we could kind of get out and just do something by ourselves, which sometimes, a late night Walmart trip is a date night when you don't have many date nights. Especially in like a town you don't know is just interesting. So we were able to just pop out and go get more food in the middle of the night. Just things like that. We were just able to drive at all times, never have to worry about it. And we were actually less concerned with going out to a nice dinner because we weren't like, oh, let's go out and have drinks. We also didn't go to a single liquor store. We saved so much money if you compare this trip to the last one. that it's insane. Um, Wild difference. I spent, I think, $12 on some NA Coronas, and I don't even want to think about how much we spent in August of 2024 when we went on the trip and I drank every day. Okay, so I had already talked about this a little bit, the sunrises that I wanted to see, and there really weren't any, which was really disappointing. Um, but sometimes disappointment happens. Just because you cut out alcohol does not mean life doesn't change. Let me reword that. Life doesn't change, but getting through things is easier because we're not blurring out the emotions and trying to ignore them, and then they just double up the next day because now whatever the problem was, it's still there, and you're hungover and you're anxious and you probably have a little bit of shame and regret from drinking. So cutting out alcohol didn't change that there were no sunrises, like beautiful sunrises. It was too cloudy. But instead of sitting there hungover upset about no sunrises, I sat there content and just happy with myself. And we were very kind of upset and disappointed on the day that it rained a lot, because it's like you pay all this money to go on this trip, you want to be at the beach, you want to do things outside, and then it pours down rain. There's actually a tornado, like I think it said 6 miles away from us. It stormed that bad one day, and the weather for the rest of the week looked like it was gonna rain. So we were like real down, which my husband and I talked about it. We didn't really show it, but we were like, are you kidding? Like, we worked so hard to make this money. We booked this trip months ahead. We plan it all out. We get here and it's supposed to rain all week. Like, we were pretty devastated, but didn't show it, didn't really say it. And I was like, you know what? We're going to get through this rainy day. I have positive hopes for this weather. And he made a joke about, like, now's when we would have had beer because we're stuck in the condo, other than when we went to do the alligator and the arcade and stuff. And it was like, well, guess we'll go get some food to bring back or something. And that was the one moment the entire trip that I was like, if I was still drinking, I would be slamming them right now. Just like letting the upset emotions take over, wanting to escape reality, being sad about spending the money, being sad about the rain and the forecast. But we didn't. And the next day was beautiful. If I would have caved and bought alcohol and drank that whole rainy day, I would have felt like garbage on the morning and the day that it was beautiful outside, and I would have hated myself for it. I would have been like, well, it was supposed to rain again, so what were we going to do? And it's just like life rewarded me for not giving in. I was like over a year sober on this vacation. I was like, there's no shot that I'm giving up just because it's raining outside. Like, yes, we're sad, but not giving up. And we found fun things to do. We got through the day, and the next 2 days were perfect. We were at the beach, in the pool, playing outside. Uh, like I said, the go karts and everything. It was so amazing, and I never felt hungover for a single second of it, which is just a world of a difference than what I used to live through and do. And I did it to myself. So when people say, like, why can't you just have a couple? I'm like, you know what? I have worked my ass off to get to where I am. So don't even. Don't. So then back to that other vacation, when we were coming up on the last full day there and then leaving the next morning, I was like, do I deal with the hangover during the beach day, or do I drink again and then be hungover on the drive home? I chose option B, hated my life on that 10-hour drive home. But I didn't want to be hungover on the beach, so I kept drinking on that last day. And this time, I kind of made a joke about it. I was like, huh, I don't have to choose what day I'm hungover because I'm not hungover on any day. And I felt so good on the way home. The drive again was smooth on the way back and didn't feel like 10 hours once again. I actually made notes about what I wanted to talk about on here and just how amazing the trip was, and the boys were incredible. And you know what? I go back to work tomorrow and I'm not like super bummed. I don't have the Sunday scaries. I'm like, I actually took this vacation to relax and restore, and I don't need days after to recover. I'm just ready to get back to it and get back to life. And usually I would be super sad after a vacation getting back to life, but I'm like, life is great all the time. And yeah. Anyway, there's the trip recap, and I'm super happy about it. I fully recommend a sober beach vacation if you're someone that struggles with alcohol or not. If you're like someone that's once or twice a year you drink, don't do it on vacation. Okay, so let's get to our mental health moment. I have been seeing, this is heavy. This might be a little trigger warning here. We're going to talk about domestic violence a little bit, just for a couple minutes. Over the Memorial Day holiday weekend, I know these things have happened the entire existence of life. But with social media, you just see it a lot more. You hear it a lot more. More news pages are covering it. In Indiana itself, I saw at least 2 deaths over the weekend for domestic violence. One of them, I have mutual friends, and I had no idea, but they've been posting that they knew her. It was up in, I think, Plainfield or a small town near there, Danville. I'm not familiar with that area. But the police came to a domestic call, and she was dead. Her husband killed her, and then the police shot him, is at least what I read. Then there was another domestic violence situation that also ended in a fatality after as well. And those were all just within a couple of days of each other. Saw another today from another state. The girl was 28, the guy was 30. It's all over the place. And I'm not like licensed therapist, psychologist, anything. I'm an accountant. I have no like training on all of this. I just want to say, if you are in a situation that you're questioning your safety at all, or you're seeing red flags, please talk to someone, because it's just hard to believe that there could not be a single red flag before something like this occurs. And I need my girls out there to stay safe. I have left a relationship that I did not feel safe in. Um, who knows what that would have turned into? I don't need to know. Don't ever want to know. But you do have your own life. You do choose your future. And it can be absolutely terrifying to get out of. But it's better to get out than to never get out. So we'll just leave it there. I just wanted to highlight that and bring awareness to that. It is happening everywhere. And behind closed doors, behind the beautiful picture of social media, Facebook is, there are things happening. Check on your friends. Make sure you all are telling your friends the truth. Okay, let's get to the last segment of the day. I kind of explained this a little bit at the beginning, but I want to do something called Sober Sideline on the first episode of each month. And this is just highlighting someone that went through a hard time with a sports career, some kind of substance abuse, and how they've turned their life around now. So my very first one, we're going to look at Chris Herron, born September of 1975 in Fall River, Massachusetts, which is where he also grew up and went to high school before he went to Boston College and Fresno State for basketball. He was drafted in the second round in the NBA in 1999 to the Denver Nuggets, where he played for a little while before he went to the Celtics. So he came back to his home, which is incredible. So his full career was 1999 to 2006. After the Celtics, he ended up playing some overseas as well. So in 2000, this is, just to preface this is research that I found. I have not spoken to these people. I have not heard them tell their own story. This is just all online, what I can find. So in 2000 to 2001, I read that he struggled with some painkillers, which I'm gonna guess is not super rare in sports. And then in 2004, he was arrested for possession of heroin when he was found passed out in a drive-through in Rhode Island. And then 4 years later, in 2008, overdosed also on heroin and wrecked into a utility pole. There's rumors that the medics claimed he was dead for like 30 seconds. I don't know how true that is, but that's so terrifying if it is true. So right after that wreck, he went to rehab and has been sober since August of 2008, which is incredible. He's almost 20 years sober. He does have a book, which I found while I was researching him, so I'm definitely going to read it. It's called Basketball Junkie. Came out in 2011, and very curious to read his story from his own, point of view and saying his own journey. That same year in 2011, ESPN put out a documentary called Unguarded, which ended up with 2 Emmy nominations. So if you love documentaries, check that out. I'm gonna read the book and watch the documentary both. He started a nonprofit called the Heron Project in 2011. So taking his own struggles and turning it into good to help others, which we always love to see. And then in 2018, he created the Heron Wellness, which is a residential drug rehab and treatment center. So just continuing to do good things in the world after going through such a hard and scary time. And I'm just blown away by these athletes that are able to overcome these things because they think life is going to go one way. It throws them into the dirt and they come back from it. So now, today, he travels. He does over 200 talks a year to students and others. He brings awareness of mental health and drug addiction use and just really tries to educate people on these topics. And him and his wife have 3 kids, which one of them does also play basketball too. So I like that he's, one of them's going up in his dad's footsteps and they can see the incredible things he's doing in the world, but also see him as an example of, what choices not to make. And sometimes you can go through a hard time, but that doesn't mean you can't help others choose a different path to avoid the struggles that you've been through. So, hopefully one day down the road I can have someone on that is actually an athlete that went through something to tell their own story, but I am at least going to start highlighting one a month to, bring awareness and to talk about what they're doing with the good side of it now. So thank you all so much for listening. We're going to get back to the normal guest episodes starting next Friday, where someone comes on and shares their own story, recovering out loud to help others know that you're never alone. So I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. It's a new month. Happy June. Enjoy your summer. Bye.